Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to improve your building in Minecraft. So, as you can see here, we have a pretty basic, low tier kind of survival base. It's just a box made out of oak planks, glass blocks, and that's pretty much it. So what we're going to be doing today is turning this pretty boring survival base into a more a better looking house that will not be too expensive. I'm going to try to keep it possible for survival, but yeah, I'll give you guys some tips to improve your building, and in that process we're going to turn this into a much nicer house. So the first thing we want to start with is adding some kind of depth. As you can see, these sides are like all completely flat, and that's definitely not something we want in a build. So what we're going to do, so we have oak wood planks, we're going to use some oak logs, and we're going to build some pillars right in the corners here. So now we have this block of empty space that the house is has. Okay. Now that we've placed the pillars, if we want, we can even add pillars, start to add pillars in like the middle. So we don't want to put the pillar over the glass. Let's take our oak wood planks and place them right here so that we can have our pillar going across like that. We can choose to do two separate pillars, like this, around the door area. Now let's go ahead and do that on all sides. So usually if you're making like a building out of wood, I would suggest using the planks for like the, the walls that are inside, and then I would always build up pillars on the corners and on the areas in the middle. It definitely makes your building pop quite a bit more. Next, we're going to be fixing the glass. As you can see, there's a block here, and then there's no block here, so we're going to go ahead and add those on both sides to make it look a bit more symmetrical. Like that. And look at that, we already have ourselves a nicer looking house than what we started with. So, yeah, this is fine. Next, we're going to move on to glass. As you can see, we just have like the default glass blocks in here. Some people like them, but I'm personally not a fan of them. So what we're going to go ahead and do is, I always prefer panes in buildings over blocks, even if the blocks are a bit more practical. I usually use panes. So, panes for wood buildings, I'd probably either go with white, light gray, gray, or black. For this build, I'm going to go with white stained glass panes. I'm going to go ahead and put them in here. The panes just, in my opinion, add even more depth, so now you have 1.5 block of depth in your build. And keep in mind, this can apply to any kind of building. That it's not like a direct tutorial, it's more of suggestions on how you can improve the way you build. Go ahead and turn on the daytime.
Set the time to 25,000.
These are pretty easy to get in survival mode, you just need bones, which you'll get from killing skeletons. You can just turn them into bone meal, which turns into white dye, and then you just put that on normal glass panes, and you have a much better looking glass, in my opinion. So this is now what our house is looking like. If we want to, we can add even more depth. Like, we can go in with some oak wood stairs, trying to keep the same blocks as our palettes. Like, we have oak wood planks for the inside walls. Then we'd probably want to use things like oak wood fences, oak wood trapdoors, oak wood slabs, oak wood stairs, all of that, so that we're staying inside of the same color palette. So what I'm going to do is replace these bottom 3 blocks, and I'm going to add slabs right there. Now this might not look the best to some people, but I think it just adds a little bit of depth that makes the build pop out even more. Let's go ahead and fill those in. Finished. So we now have the stairs in place of the 3 on the bottom, which I think makes it look a little better. I think it'll probably look better once we add the roof in, but we have not gotten to that stage yet. So something else we can address with this house is that it really just is a flat, like a square. So usually with my buildings, I like to make it a more elaborate shape, so that's what we're gonna go ahead and try. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and break this wall right here, so we can keep those. And let's see, break this wall right here. Like this. Actually, we're gonna do, this will all make sense in a second, but we're gonna get rid of these pillars and break this one too, so that they're each from the inside 3 blocks wide. We're gonna change these to the 4 block, which is cobblestone in this case. And what we can do is so how much space is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then let's go ahead and get our oak logs and then place one there. So that we're now going to have these extensions coming out of our house, which will definitely make it look significantly better and more elaborate. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and add our stairs in for the bottom blocks here. Sometimes adding the extensions can be a little tricky, but just make sure that you're measuring out everything and that you're, you know what you're doing, because they can sometimes get tricky. gonna end up looking kind of like, it's like an L with this little bulge in the middle. We're gonna change the placement of the doors as well, so it's not on this side, because that would look pretty unsymmetrical. When you're building, you want to kind of try to keep your stuff symmetrical the best you can. I think it looks better. I mean, in some cases, in like some modern houses, you can go without a little symmetry, but at least for this build, it would make sense. And look at that, our extension is done. I think that just makes our house look just a little bit better, so let's go ahead and do it on this side. Actually, let's go ahead and let's do some corrections here, because we previously had the door here. We need to fix it up a little bit. Alright, there we go. Again. So yeah, I'm obviously not giving any exact measurements because it's not really a kind of copy off of tutorial. It's mainly just giving, you know, guidance. Like, you can make extensions like these if you want, but you don't have to. Like, if you only, if you're a fan of the glass that I use, then you could probably incorporate that into your builds. It's not really to build what I'm building, but more to add the elements of what I'm building to the things that you create. I have been building in Minecraft for about good, I'd say 5 years, and I've definitely made some pretty amazing stuff. So, alright, so that is our other extension built. Our new distinctive shape is now complete. And now what we want to do is figure out where we're going to put our doors. So I was thinking of having a door over here. We can add some kind of double doors or something. And take these out. Some doors over here. Now let's see how we're going to do this. Let's put some stairs here. And then add our doors in. Just like so. Yeah, this is fine. Alright, we now have our new entryway. Which, it's not exactly symmetrical. We can make it symmetrical if we wanted to. Or, let's see. Like, if you find something in your build that you don't think looks good, feel free to change it. Like, it's all about your preference, what you find to look good. It's all about preference. So if you think that looks a bit better, then you can definitely keep it. And I think even I might replace Toffee. I'm gonna use my white stained glass blocks and add them in a line like this. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Alright. So we now have our new shape. set it to day.
Set the time to.
So now what we can start to do is work on our roof. So with difficult shapes like these, it's kind of can be hard to make a roof. So let me go through some good roof designs that you can do, and then we'll try to apply one of them to our build. Get some slabs, some stairs, all that stuff. So if you just want to go basic, something just like stair and then a block here and place another stair, one block higher, something like that. It's pretty basic, but it gets the job done. So your first option is going to be something like that. If you want it to be like a little more sloped, you could go with something like this. So stair, full block, stair, full block. Then we go stair, full block, and stair at the bottom. This definitely makes for some pointier, more taller roofs. There's plenty of combinations you can do, and then if you want a less sloped roof, you can go slab and slab. Then you just make every one slab higher than the previous. Just like that. So, what I would not recommend you do is if you're building a roof either like completely flat, like what it currently is now, or if you build them like this. I mean, at this point, there's so many blocks in this game, like slabs and stairs and stuff, that allow you to create these better shapes, so I don't really see the point of people just building roofs out of blocks, full blocks like this. It just doesn't look as good. It doesn't look very natural. So I think we're going to be going with the slab option because our house is pretty big, and I don't think it really needs to have, like, how do I explain this, super points roofs. I'm just going to go with the slabs. So what we're going to do is going to hollow out the roof here so that we just have these blocks remaining, just like this. And keep in mind, this is all pretty doable in survival. I don't think I've used anything that would be hard to obtain in survival. Yeah, we did forget to add our floor extension. Alright, so let's think, how do we want to do this roof? Here's what I was thinking. We could make slabs roof that this will be kind of tough, but alright, this is what I'm gonna do. Make sure to add little overhangs like this. They look pretty nice. And I'm gonna, just for the sake of making the roof look a little better, I'm gonna replace those top logs with oak wood slabs. Okay. roofs can definitely be tricky. If you're just gonna build like a rectangle or a square, they're definitely a lot easier. But since we have the shape, kind of have to get creative with how you're gonna do your roofs. Personally, I always like to add these going across. These slabs that are kind of overhanging and connecting to each outside pillar. And we're just gonna keep building this roof up until it gets to a certain point where we find that it's already like too tall, too steep. So as you can see, it's already gotten pretty steep at this point, so I think we're gonna go ahead and cut it off there. Now let's go ahead and rebuild. Same thing on this side. And eventually you'll see where I'm going with this. Let me see if I'm doing everything right. Yep. Looks good to me. Nope, this is not right. Or is it? Yeah, they're supposed to go over, directly over the overhang here, so. These guys are extended a little bit too far out. So it should look like that. Yeah, there we go. So whenever my friends are building survival bases, they always struggle with the roofs. I was like, hey, can you come build my roof for me? But yeah, once you learn how to do good roofs, you'll get the hang of it pretty easily. It should not be too hard after you learn it, after you master it. Almost finished. There we go. They are equal height now. So, what we're gonna do is we're going to kind of connect these two online with like flat slabs. That's basically our plan. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and connect them just like this. Making sure that they are staying symmetrical and one side is not wider than the other. Yep, that's looking good. Looks like the sun is starting to set. Let's go ahead and make it day again.
Set the time to
Alright, so we have connected these guys now. So, what we're gonna do is just like we have with these, we're gonna, this supporting piece right here, we're gonna continue it all the way. I'm just gonna use full blocks for this and not the slabs. And then the same thing on this side, except you have to connect them, make sure they connect at the right spot. Just like that. Great. So we're then gonna kind of do the same concept on this side now. Let's go ahead and make this, these guys, the top block needs to be both boards. Alright. So they're kind of going to intersect, which is the point. We're going to make it so that they kind of build up to get to this point. These guys, we don't really need them to be like that. Okay. And there we go. I'd say that definitely looks pretty nice. And if we don't want these to be totally overhanging, we can add things like those, and okay, like that, then like that. There we go. That looks pretty nice in my opinion. And then for these guys on top of the oak logs, we can go ahead and add something like that. And like that, as kind of support. And if you don't really like this look, you can take the top oak log and replace it with the slabs again, and I think it makes it look just a little bit better. There we go, now we have a much nicer looking roof. If we want to add like an attic area, we could set up some trapdoors like this. How do we do this? I guess just like that. Or I think it would be better if we did it from the inside. We can build an attic, a little floor above it. 1, 2, 3. Now, like all of these little tiny details are definitely like optional things. Like you don't have to have these. There we go. Just go around the back and see how they look. No, they look pretty nice. You could definitely use the attic for some kind of storage management, things like that. Alright, well, the house itself is pretty much done. And, like, you can just see massive transformation, absolutely massive transformation from when we first started and now. And this is honestly pretty cheap. You just need some wood and survival, like a good maybe 6 stacks of oak logs, and you can make this happen. You just need glass and wood, and that's really it. So the next thing to do is probably going to be to add some greenery outside the house, but that's for a later video about interior design, adding greenery. What we can do is go ahead and place a few trees outside the house just to make it look a little bit better. It shouldn't be too hard in survival. Let's get bone meal and some saplings. There we go. So yeah, in the next video, we're going to be upgrading the interior of this house to make it look much nicer than it currently is. Then we'll have a finished house. Even start to expand the trees into this kind of area. And we can even go ahead and use our bone meal to kind of add greenery around the trees. Some grass, some flowers, things like that. Then we can take our shovel real quick and go ahead and make some, you don't have to use another shovel, but you can go ahead and make some paths leading outside of the house. Something like this. It's pretty simple and straightforward. And just some lighting at the beginning of the path. And there we go. Our house is pretty much complete. Now there's obviously some finishing touches, like you can add greenery on both sides of the path, just easy with some bone meal. Shouldn't be too hard. Yeah, our house is from the exterior finished, and you can see just how much of a transformation we have made. Hopefully that you can apply some of these tips and processes I used while making this house in your own builds. But I will see you in the next one, guys. So, see you guys later.